What's up, folks, and welcome back today for another review. Nigerian Lucas, today we're going to be teaming up to review the new series 61st Street, which is making this world premiere at South by Southwest Film Festival 2022, but will be available the first 2 episodes April 10th on AMC Plus or All Black. So all things AMC networks, and that is obviously dependent on whatever region you're watching this at as well too. But again, you can catch the first 2 episodes that will premiere on April 10th if you're not catching it at the world premiere at South by Southwest. This series is brought to you by, amongst some others, but notable Michael B. Jordan is the executive producer on this. Very notable cast. Some folks you may know about. Tosin Cole. He was in the Star Wars movie. The National Treasure himself, Courtney B. Vance. Just to name our 2 leads here for it. And quickly, what this series is about. It's an abundance of things. I'm going to just kind of give you my little summary of it. Courtney B. Vance plays a public defender, Franklin Roberts. This is all taking place in Chicago, by the way. He has just received some very life-changing news about his health and a cancer prognosis. But at the same time, too, he's also raising an autistic son. And they're all in Chicago, so you have that whole little, ramifications of things. Moses Johnson, aka Mojo, is played by Tosin Cole, who's 17-year-old. He's a track star out of South Side of Chicago. He's the next big thing. He is the future. But in one very regular Chicago day, he sees his little brother interacting with a bunch of gangbangers, and one thing led to the next, and now the cops are after everybody that was even at that scene. And Mojo, running from the scene because he's a track star, of course he will run, ends up in a little let's say altercation, a fatal altercation with a cop, which now has the whole entire Chicago Police Department after him as their suspect in a police murder. So that, I believe, gives you about everything you need to know without kind of really spoiling things. You know, there's about 3 to 4 different kind of storylines kind of all intertwined here. Pretty much, you know, to be honest, to kind of get my first reaction, it's not like it's not like something you're not familiar with. Like, all these different elements of the plot you have seen in one way, shape, or form. There is one thing that I thought was really going to go the very stereotypical, predictable route, but it didn't. But everything in terms of what I watched in the first 2 episodes, I it felt really reminiscent of something else, of one way, shape, or form, another project, another title, whether it was a series, a movie, or whatever. And this is just a compilation of all of those together to kind of give you something. Now, Lucas, before I let you speak, the one thing I will say too is that I wasn't super high on this, but this is a television show, a cable television show. And I think it was important to kind of put that in the forefront, because the expectations for that means that you don't really get a lot from cable television shows. Just far in between that you'll get one that just is this really spectacular, hitting all the different elements. But for its networks, for its audience, I think folks will gravitate to this because of the drama. And folks like drama, folks like sort of, the things they can say like, oh, I'm familiar with that. But I don't think this steps outside of the norm at all. I think it's very much something that if you've seen one of these shows with this plot and these ramifications, you've seen them all. So that's kind of my impression, is that, like, I thought it would be a lot better, but now I quickly remember, like, it's a television show on cable network. It's not going to be nothing too much here. And that is this for sure.
Cable or streaming?
Well, it's on AMC Plus. Let me make sure I get this correct. So no, AMC. So April 10th at 10 p.m. it's going to be on AMC, with 2 episodes streaming on AMC Plus in all black. So yes, it will be on television, but then it will then hit on the AMC Plus app. So yes, it is a cable network. But then again, I think it's predicated to whatever region you're in as well too, because I believe if you're overseas, I think it's going to be on, don't quote me, but it's going to be on something else that I think will probably only be exclusively streaming and whatnot. But either way, same basket. But your thoughts?
Well, this is another show that tries to ride off of Black pain, Black torture, things that scare the Black community by inserting a storyline of this kid who has everything going for him. One thing leads to another, and then we get the world's worst police squadron ever that will plant drugs, kill people, do whatever they got to do to attempt to make up for one of their fallen people. Now, the issue with it, the biggest issue with this show is that it's paced all over the place. It's way too many different things thrown at you. It's kind of a staple of Peter, because I'm not going to blame Michael B. Jordan, because I know everybody would love to blame him for this show. He's not the creator. He's just the executive producer. Peter Motif, who's the creator of this show, is the same one who brought you Your Honor. So if you understand the flaws that were glaring in that show, and then you possibly took away the enjoyable performance from Bryan Cranston in that show, that's what you get here. And that's going to be a problem for lots of people, because that Your Honor wasn't received well by lots of people. And 61 goes down some of those same pathways of him throwing a lot of different characters at you at once and never fleshing any of them out besides possibly the main character. So in the first 2 episodes you get from 61, the only character that you kind of understand anything about is Courtney B. Vance. Everyone else is just kind of thrown at you, even including the dirty cops, because it's a scene where we kind of see the corruption in the department, but it's not fully explained to us exactly what's going on before this horrible tragic event happens. So when that horrible tragic event happens and this series turns into something completely different, you're not invested in any of the cops. You're not invested in even Moses here. You're not fully invested in him. Like, they gave just enough backstory to Courtney B. Vance for you to understand he's the lead of the show. But everything else kind of falls by the wayside in this show. And again, it's just a lot of stuff is thrown at you at one time, and you're stuck to wonder some of the key characters' decision making, because a lot of this could have been avoided if certain people just didn't make certain decisions. And unless you're willing to ride out with those decisions, this could be something that you're going to see the first 2 episodes and be like, yeah, I'm not watching this anymore.
Yeah, I mean, I will say that I'm always a little suspicious about anything that releases 2 episodes. This one definitely did not really sustain as a pilot. And in terms of a pilot, I simply just want to know, am I intrigued to watch the rest? And I think if I was not guaranteed the second, I don't know how I would have felt, because as you said, you are thrown a lot. And with this, tackling some emotional trauma, especially for us to be able to connect with, I really didn't even have time to even connect with it. And even on the opposite end, when you talk about the dirty cop in Michael Rossi, his story, again, nothing you haven't seen before. His story is exactly the same as what was the Wesley Snipes movie?
Which one?
Brooklyn.
Brooklyn.
What was it called? It was called something.
You're talking about Brooklyn. What are you talking about? The one that's just called Brooklyn?
No. It's called something else. But with the cop that basically was, he didn't get the promotion, so he doesn't have enough money. He has kids that he needs to feed. So now he's kind of desperate in terms of how does he make income. So he colludes with the gangsters to try to get the drops, to try to get more bust, whether he's going to get involved with the drugs or whether this is some type of, something that can help with essentially patting his stats in order for him to get the promotion. We don't even fully get established that to understand his level of desperation as to why he is operating the way he is, and because he's so quickly gone. And I think that's a problem because whether, and again, as in any formulation of a film, an antagonist and protagonist, you have to have a good villain in order to have a good guy. So like the fact that the villain you couldn't even get any type of emotional toll to, it doesn't really help you really sympathize with Mojo, who's your good guy essentially. You know, the black kid who is wrongfully accused. You know,
let's flip that for a second, because I actually say the cop that we're introduced to at the beginning that we don't see too much of, I don't think he's the bad guy, and he's never supposed to be. He's actually supposed to be the good guy in the story.
Well, it doesn't even matter. You don't even have time to even try to sit this out to try to figure out where my emotions want to go, you know?
I think it was the curveball he wanted to throw you of giving you this person who is possibly the best person on this show. Like, not best person in that performance, but the best person on the show. Because no one else is someone who I would care about.
Yeah.
Like, the cops are horrible on this show.
They do exactly what they always do. You know, and that's not even a stereotypical statement. That is a very much entertainment statement of saying a dirty cop does this, and they say, "Yep, hit all those tropes." There you go.
Every trope of a dirty cop, humanly possible in anything you do. But then you have Moses on the other end. He's not a likable character, and you're stuck watching all of these people who most are not likable because you just want to see if you're going to get more of Courtney B. Vance, and if you're going to expect people to stick around for 8 episodes of you waiting to get more from Courtney B. Vance, you're gonna have a problem because no one else in this show was even remotely close to being likable.
Yeah, and
realistic, not even just likable, realistic.
That was my last point. Problem. Then that exactly was my last point. Like I don't want to nitpick or whatnot, but yeah, there is a bunch of different things that definitely, like there's elements that they're completely drawn out the drama, and I get it, but at times there's also points of it when there's like too much of that drama being drawn out. And like you said, like, you know, I don't want to nitpick, but like there are points and elements, decisions, and all sorts of different things that lead you to say that's not believable, or I can't buy that, even to a point where you even want to overlook it. You can't. Like that was my issue. Is that, like, look, I'm not gonna sit here and act like I'm the biggest, the most knowledgeable in law or protocol, but like there's clearly things that you're just like, yeah, that doesn't happen that way, or that doesn't work, and that does always take viewers out of it. So
I think this is the problem you're gonna get when you get a foreign writer and director from a different part of the world who comes in to try to make an Americanized story, especially if you get someone who possibly is not of the race of the people he's making the story of. At times he may go to extreme lengths to show compassion, and from a black viewer standpoint, some of the things that happen with these characters you question. Like, I understand, we understand how dirty cops are. Could we at least get one that's kind of clean? We understand that, you know, we as black people are terrified of the police. Could we get someone who's going to make smart decisions as it pertains to dealing with them? No. Yeah. Like we get none of that in this show. And again, it could just be because this is a writer who's not from this country. While he is a great writer overseas, he's written some of the most amazing things. One that is got turned into The Night Of for HBO. He's written amazing work before. But
and that brings my point that you just reminded me, right? Because this is going to be shown on BBC there.
Yes.
So to me, and so the reception there is that like this will be great there. This is going to be their eye of what Chicago looks like.
There you go.
People are going to love it. And
that's the issue. That's the issue. Overseas, this is, he made a show from a British standpoint of what they believe the American court system and legal system looks like.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, if you're American, you're going to look back and say, yes, it's extremely corrupt. We're not doubting that at all. But boy, this just feels so unnecessary extra. And then if you cue up one more soul song from the 60s to attempt to draw emotion out of me, I'm going to snap.
Well, folks, look, last thing I'll say is, you know, in terms of predictions or just, you know, whatever your investment may be to go forward with the series, you do have another Officer Logan, who's his partner, who is kind of threading between wondering what his partner was really up to. and and obviously still trying to be a man of the law. They do have a superior who seems to just by any means necessary does all of the dirty clock tropes, and he's out of line. And at this point now, from the second episode, we now see Courtney B. Vance character Franklin Roberts again become the lawyer of Mojo now. So now I think things are going to take a step into the courtroom, and we're going to kind of see one public defender now become a lawyer, and probably bring some notoriety back to his name, because he kind of started off on the wrong foot. But we're going to see, because this is really his claim to really stop the system. That's his whole MO. He doesn't want to see another young man from Southside get caught up in everything that's going on. So heroicism in the court of the law, but we'll see how this plays out. But yeah,
man, you just made me remember the speech at the beginning that he got. Jesus, man. Again, if you are looking for possibly entertaining, badly written show again, maybe this will be for you.
Yeah.
Because when it gets in the courtroom, you can expect Courtney B. Vance to be Courtney B. Vance. It's gonna happen in the show. And I think when you get more of him, the show may become more likable. It's just when he's not on screen, it suffers tremendously.
Yeah. He's a national treasure, Emmy Award winner, Courtney B. Vance, and definitely the biggest reason why I wanted to check this out. So that's that. But yeah, you can check it out. It will be on AMC, April 10th, AMC Plus, all black, BBC, depending on where you at in the region of the world, you got options here. Check it out. Again, it made its world premiere at this year's South by Southwest Film Festival. Jump in the comments, let us know your thoughts, your excitement, your predictions for this series. And as always, stay tuned for more reviews very soon. Thank you for watching, folks.